Hey, welcome to Fries and a Glass of Wine. I'm Mel, and this is the podcast where we sit down, share a plate of fries, pour a glass of wine, and just talk. Like, really talk. Every other week, I invite a friend, or sometimes a stranger, to join me for a casual, heart-led conversation about life, love, work, or whatever's on our minds. No scripts, no structure, just real conversations over fries and wine. So grab a glass, settle in, and let's see where this one goes. Today, I'm sitting with my sweet friend Jess. A fun fact about the two of us is that we're both Canadians and Americans living in Houston, Texas. And so during this episode, you might hear our Canadian accents come out just a little bit. Jess, honestly, is probably one of my favorite people to talk to. And more times than I even realized, I've said to her, I wish our conversations were recorded because what we just talked about was so good and so deep and so heartfelt. And I feel other people would enjoy it too. And so she's the perfect first guest for me to have on this podcast. So I hope you enjoy. Like, what is in the Yukon? Like, what do you have in the Yukon?
It's pretty amazing.
Trees.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly wild and undeveloped. So a province that's, I mean, roughly it's big, right? It's not as big as Texas, but it's large. I've been at Texans games, like where the stadium has more people in it than the whole province of Canada. I think there's like 40,000.
The province of the Yukon.
Province of, yeah.
Wait.
Oh, it's actually a territory.
Yeah. This is like where our Canadian geography gets to the test.
Technically, it's a territory.
Yeah. Wait, so when did you move down to America? When did you come to America?
I was in 6th grade. I think the year was 1994. Wow.
Why do we feel so old right now?
That sounds...
I don't like that.
Why did I start that sentence off like that?
But we look young, so that's the key thing.
Yes. 6th grade. I think it was 94. I'd have to go back and look. And then that wasn't permanent. We'd come down for school and then go back for summers and then come down for school and then go back for summer, like for quite a few years until into high school. And then just stayed in Arizona.
Mm.
Yep.
Did you miss the Yukon?
Okay, the missing stuff with me is a really interesting question, I think, because I've moved around so much.
Wait, I have the same thing too. Great, tell me more.
Okay, so like how I miss, like I'll miss, sure, I like miss the people or there's certain things, but I don't necessarily miss something because if I ever missed something enough, I have that in my brain that I would just like make it happen. Like I would just go. Like I've never really experienced like homesick or something like that because it's like this state of mind to where like, why are you making yourself like suffer in a way? And I've just always, it's interesting. I don't know how to explain it. So missing it, I think, I mean, I just have so much like love for it. I think maybe that's the better way for me to say it.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily, I miss the people, like longtime friends that are like family there that I don't get to see often. But as a place, no, but I just love it.
Yeah.
So what were you going to say?
No, I've always had this because I moved around a lot too.
Yeah.
And I would spend like the first 2 years that we lived in Canada, like we spent those summers, my sister and I spent those summers in Jamaica, not the full summer, but a good chunk of it.
Yeah, cool.
So like I was back and forth and I would spend some of my summers in Montreal as well. So
Did you speak French?
Oh yeah, I used to be fluent.
Stop.
You can speak to me in French and I'll respond back in English, but I get in my head too much because I started learning Spanish.
Yes.
And I start responding in the wrong language and then it's made me like really self-conscious about it. So unless I'm like
tricky,
very tipsy,
you're
not going to get anything. Like I'm somehow fluent in Spanish when I drink.
Wow.
And like I think fairly good in French when I drink, but like talk to me in French.
Yeah.
We're good.
That's amazing.
I'm not responding. But I would spend these long periods of time away from my parents. So I was used to not being around them. So my mom would always go like, oh, did you miss us? I'm like, no. And she's like, why don't you miss us? I'm like, I'm used to being gone from you. Like, this is normal for me. Like, being around you all the time is too much for me.
Yeah. That's like almost so matter of fact too, isn't it?
She's just like, well, what? I think she thought there was something wrong with me, and there could be, but I don't know. But I'm like very present in the moment, like with most things. And so to miss something, I feel like I'm going backwards.
Yes.
So I'm very like forward thinking or present.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. I think it's like miss makes me feel like it's like that missing out, like how, again, I've always just made it in my mind that like, if I wanted to be somewhere bad enough, I'd just go be there.
Yeah. I do have moments where I wish someone was with me or I wish I was. Yes. So I'm like, that could be missing someone, but I'm like, I would want them to experience this moment with me because I know that they would have so much fun or they would enjoy it a lot with me. But yeah. Or like,
maybe it's different, like place. I think, whenever I'm met with like, do you miss it? Yeah, that it does. It immediately takes you to like a past place versus like no, I don't want to be anywhere. Like, but it is really special. It's hard to describe. As you can imagine, it's definitely rough. Like, it's so cold most of the year, it's not an easy place to live, but it's so beautiful. I was also really young for a majority of that. But yeah.
When you were describing it, like it was really rough, I'm like, my mind goes to How to Train Your Dragon.
Really?
The opening opening monologue.
That land with like all of
the dragons that are attacking the land and then they befriend them.
Yes.
And like, I love that movie.
No.
But that's when you described it. I was just like, oh.
No, I just think of like in the winter, like being dark for so much of it and the cold and even living somewhere north when you have to like, it gets so cold there, you have to like plug your vehicle in or have it like inside to keep the engine. It's just really, it's another world.
Well, thank you for being my first guest.
Yes.
I'm very excited.
Oh my gosh. Honored. Excited.
It's going to be really fun if this thing grows, but if not, it's still just like fun with friends, a passion project, something exciting to do.
Yes.
And something that's like, I was thinking about it, like weirdly, like, when moments in your life where things just like ladder up to something and you're like, oh, this was in the cards all along.
Yes.
I'm trying not to think about that with this, but it kind of is.
Based on your comment earlier, don't overthink.
But
you're already feeling it.
Yeah. Okay. So when my aunt worked in media for like my entire life, and she got her start in radio and then she moved to television. But when I was probably 10 or 11 for Christmas, she got me a radio, like the kids like radio station set. So like my sister and I would go into the basement, we would tune like the upstairs radio into like our station and we'd like put on radio shows.
Stop.
From the basement.
Really?
And I forgot about that.
That was a kids radio set?
Yeah. That like transmitted to the actual radio.
Wow.
And so we would do that and we'd put on like radio shows. And I'm like, a radio show is a podcast. It's the same thing.
It is.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I'm just like, she's just like instilled that in me.
Also, I love that basements. I feel like I haven't been in a basement for...
Oh, yeah, because we don't have those in Houston.
Yeah, not a big basement place.
Yeah, no.
Because of flooding.
Oh. I don't think about that. I was just like, we just don't build basements here.
It was just fun to hear you say that because I could like picture you guys going downstairs, probably your own little, was it like built out?
No, ours was still like unfinished, but we made it like our
Even
own.
better.
Yeah.
Like an unfinished basement down there, like radioing up.
Yeah, we had our bunk beds in there. Are those
recorded
downstairs.
At all or anything?
No, I don't think so. Okay. And like our TV, it was like our little kids corner, like a kids playroom.
Yes,
it was like
where the
downstairs.
Parents were like,
go down
Yeah.
here. We don't want to see you. Except for like when you turn the lights off, you have to like run upstairs because you're like
so
terrified.
Scary.
Yeah. But we used to do that. So I was like, she was planting the seeds very early on. And I was just like, nope, we're not doing this. Yeah.
But now you are.
Yeah, we're leaning into it. And then even like recently, like Steph, also, did I ever give you context as to who Steph is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Toronto friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I lived with her.
Yes.
I was telling her about the podcast and she's like, oh my God, you're going to be a content creator. I'm like, oh, absolutely not.
Careful. I'm
just like, why would you say that? I'm like, I'm a podcaster now.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, that's probably a limiting belief I need to like get over.
Well, and they can be separate.
Yeah.
They don't have to be lumped.
Yeah.
Like you can be a
podcaster and not a content creator.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like these like moments when I've told people I'm doing this, they're like, yeah, I've been asking you to do this for years. And I'm like, what do you mean? So my friend who worked at TikTok in Canada when he just started and like this was like 2020, like it wasn't really a thing then. He's like, can you please start a TikTok? And like, I'll give you free swag and everything. Like I need you to start making content or like start putting your content that you already make for your friends.
Don't you kick yourself if you'd started and
yeah,
we're not going to think about that. We're not going to think about that.
And he's like, you need to start doing this. I'm like, absolutely not. No, we're not doing this. And like, I'd have these moments where someone's like, you need to be a content creator. And I'm like, no, you need to start like just posting like what I would post to like my close friends or just like even in the pandemic. They're like, can you please post this? And I'm like, no, refuse. I refuse. For like Steph and I would do lip syncs on our patio, just drinking wine and just like being idiots. And I was like, no, we're not doing this. And then even like a few weeks ago, someone that I'd met like 2 or 3 times in passing, she had commented on something I wrote on LinkedIn and she's like, you should really think about being a content creator. And I was like, nope, we're not doing this. And then here we are.
Yeah.
Pivoting and eating our words.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, and I just love making sure that there's always space for change and growth. Yeah. And there's something about the fact that like you might have said no up until that 2 weeks ago, and now you're in a different space to say yes.
And we have this full setup and we have a full concept and we're doing it. Yeah.
Impressed.
But yeah, the pivots of life are just wild. And like I kind of like that with as we continue to evolve, like we're not the same people. I think that's like probably what's the not connective tissue, but like the similar philosophy that you and I have is just like we're always growing and evolving.
Yeah.
So like who I was in 2020, definitely who I was in 2020 and who I am now are 2 different people. And life has like taken so many twists and turns, and like I've just like continued to like the version of myself that I am at each point. Yeah. And so I'm like very forgiving in who I was before.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I just had this conversation with a friend earlier this week, during a conversation that I was having with her about, it's like, I really hope that I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago. Like that's almost striving for that. Like I can see, wanting to be the same and those core values and all of that. But like, I am excited by the fact that, that I'm different, it's like know better, do better kind of thing. And hopefully just continue to grow. And
did you ever like have a moment where you were like, oh, I've grown so much, I don't feel like I'm comfortable in this space anymore?
Oh yeah. I feel like even at the moment I feel it was great. I was like, why is my arm like sliding? Like what is this? Okay. Well, I'll stop playing with the furniture. I feel like I'm in like quantum leap something. No, not to get weird.
Oh no, I will go down this rabbit hole, but that's another time.
No, I'm in some. I'm currently embracing the in between. I am in my in between, and I can feel it. And what was yesterday is not feeling quite right, and tomorrow doesn't feel quite like stable. I'm definitely in an in between at the moment.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so do you just like take every day, day by day?
There's a lot of grace right now because I think because there's this like a different feeling at the moment of just so much unknowing. And I don't see it necessarily caused by anything other than it just feels like it's the timing. I don't know if we're a certain amount of time past 2020 or it's just this season for me right now, but I'm in an in-between. And there's like some uncertainty, but giving just a lot of grace while I'm figuring it out. But it's definitely an area of exploration, and I'm like calling in a lot of newness.
Ooh.
Like what can I be doing that's different? And so I'm having to remain really open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like just open to what's coming up.
Yeah, because like as long as you know your like you said, like your values at the end of the day and what you see for yourself, like your long-term vision for yourself, or like I don't like to look at like long-term visions, and I also hate 5-year goals, which is another topic. But like how you want to feel like in a few years, like you just pivot.
Yeah.
As to like what feels right in that moment to get you to that long-term vision for yourself, right?
Yeah. It's really interesting. I think coming out of a company, a previous employer that put so much emphasis on goals, it was like I came out of that with almost like goal burnout.
Yeah.
Like there's so much like goals are incredible, the direction, the North Star, all of that. But I definitely had some almost like burnout in terms of that. And then add on 2020. I feel like this was a communal experience, but you can share what yours was too. But there was so much unknown. It was like you had to be so present. It was hard to plan 6 months in March of 2020 when it felt like the world was ending.
Yeah.
So even I think that compounded for me on top of leaving, ending that career February of 2020, taking my year-long personal fun employment sabbatical, and then having like the pandemic hit at the same time. It was this interesting like explosion of just putting goals to the side and just really living in the moment. And that's what it felt like. And then on top of that, I feel like I haven't really come out of that yet. Like I still have like monthly goals and weekly goals and like, I don't know, 6 months, or what's my goal for, 2020, the year. But I think that's even part of this in between right now, is just like feeling this shift and in a period of almost like revisiting all of that right now. Like like it's actually feeling like, okay, I've come out of all of this now. What am I curating? Yeah. Like what do I want some of these next chapters to look like? Yeah. So I think that's part of this in between. So maybe it's like almost getting back to all of that too.
Like all of what?
Like the vision and like the goals. Because when you just said that, like your life vision, like I I think I've gone through so many iterations of that I've chosen to like let go of that for some time, because I can have a personality where that can be a little consuming.
Yeah. I think that because you and I got really close during your year of Jess, is what I'm going to call it.
Okay.
Especially with the pandemic, because before I moved, we were already FaceTime friends. Like, that's like an American thing I realized.
Yeah.
Is to like FaceTime everyone.
It was so much in 2020. It was like all of a sudden.
I think even before that, like in 2018.
Oh.
Like we were always FaceTiming. Like it wasn't a phone call, it was a FaceTime.
Well, and I think because we became better friends after you left Houston, I feel like.
No, but like I'm just saying, like as a society,
Oh, yes.
like in America, like we were FaceTime people.
Yeah.
And people thought it was weird in Canada. I'm like,
really?
FaceTime? Like what? Like we only FaceTime. And then I got people on like my bandwagon, and some other people were already doing it because they had American friends too, but like I got more people comfortable with like the random FaceTimes.
Wait, we could probably dissect this right now. Is it because Canada doesn't have great phone plans and it probably costs an arm and a leg? I mean, there's probably something there.
Yeah, because they have terrible phone plans.
Oh my gosh, costs like literally, you have to like, I feel like your phone plan a year is like mortgaging a house.
Yeah. And you're like locked in for a very long time. It's a little
dramatic, but you are.
It's very, and the service isn't great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that
could be it. Huh. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But then you and I, especially during the pandemic, because we did get closer after I moved, then we'd FaceTime a lot. And like I think I learned a lot from you as you were navigating that. And you made me really, when I had to take my pivot and like leave a very negative environment to like save my mental health, like seeing you do it before, not that yours was for mental health and not like you just like needed to change, but like seeing you do it before, like kind of like paved the way and like made it like okay, not okay, that it wasn't okay to do, but like just like, it was like a nice moment to be like, oh, she did this and she just navigated every day and she like went and found herself in that year and like focused on the things that she loved.
Like you saw it be a positive thing instead of like this
a negative thing, where I think like also in Canada, because life is just so expensive up there, like you don't take breaks. You can't take breaks.
It's also interesting, like if you talk to a lot of people or adults, or there's even a certain generation, the sentiment is like there's a negativity around that. Like, why would you take a break? Whether it's like monetarily or like there were a lot of people I talked to around that time that were discouraging that, like that were literally like, what are you doing? And thankfully I like was strong enough and like in my decision that didn't impact or wave me, but it was interesting to watch that happen. So that's not surprising.
Yeah.
Don't you love that? Like sometimes it's like people, it's like little, I think of them as like permission slips. Like you can write yourself permission slips all day long, but I also am like that. Like sometimes it's just a little more motivating if you've just like seen someone else do it.
Yeah.
And do it well, or had a good outcome from it, then you're like, I can do it too.
Yeah. You know? It's funny. I like the way that you phrase that, because someone that we both know, we were working from a coffee shop together, and she saw me like muster up the courage to like write an email to someone that I hadn't talked to in a while, like pitching myself. And she saw like the nervousness in me. And like, I do think that I know that like I come across as self-assured. I've always come across like that. And so like when she saw me being like, oh, I don't know, like we're just going to suck this up and just do it. And like literally did a countdown, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then hit send. I was like, well, can't take it back now. She like took that. She's like, oh, and like was like her permission slip. And so she sent a text message to someone about like pitching herself for something.
Yeah.
And she was nervous to do that. And like, she's like, there's no reason I should be nervous, but I am nervous. And she did that. And like, since then, her life has dramatically changed. Well, not dramatically, but like changed in a positive way. And now she has like, her business is booming. And now she's a new like career opportunity stemming from it. And I was like, I love that for you. Little jealous. Yeah, I love this for you. And I'm glad I could be part of your story.
Yeah.
But I was like, good. I know my time is coming for my business to boom. But like, it was just like, oh, I love it. And like, sometimes it's like that one action that just changes everything.
Yeah.
You just never know what that action is.
Who says it? I'm blanking on her name right now. She's become this like really influential author in the last decade. But it's that idea of like, do it scared.
Ooh.
It might be hard, but do it anyway. It's like, it's, I'll think of who.
It's not Mel Robbins.
That's not who I'm thinking of. No.
Not our girl, Brene Brown.
I don't think it's let's just name drop everyone
that we listen to. Everyone needs to get on this bandwagon.
Yeah, we can think of it.
Yeah.
But I just love that idea of like, do it scared. You know, you have that great tip of like a physical motion of like, you're uncomfortable, you don't want to do it, but if you like rock into it, you'll like press the send button, you know?
Yeah.
And we always make it out to be worse than it is. Like, why does that moment feel like the world is ending? And what's the worst that will come out of it? You just won't hear back, or you get a no, or you will hear back and you're not going to die in all three of those, you know?
Okay, I feel like it's, you're not going to die, but I feel like it's like this notion, like, and I don't know if it's like a societal thing with how we grew up, because if we're all like that millennial phase of like, we're not allowed to dream too big, or we have to stay in our lane almost. I wonder, and I've not thought about it too deeply to like really pinpoint, like, was it like the shows that we watched that like created this? Because like
subconsciously,
like
this,
keeping us like thinking that we have to be small, which is weird because like one of my favorite movies is Coach Carter, and the quote from it, or like Samuel L. Jackson throughout the movie always asks like, what is your deepest fear? And like, what is your deepest fear? And at the end, the guy recites the Marianne Williamson poem, which is our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
Oh, such a good one.
I love that quote so much, but I'm like, are we not like, I think we all need permission slips to like dream bigger and do bigger. I think it's like the judgment of others. Maybe it's all those like mean girls in like the movies.
Yes.
Like hold us down because of their insecurities.
It's all of the above. It's also quite primordial, because like I feel like I also recently heard this really great thought that our brain, based on survival, will always err on the like safety mechanism of something versus like going for it. And I think some people are more apt or have trained themselves, whether it's like confidence or maybe they have like an off switch on that part of their brain or something. But there is a really like instinctual primordial, that's not the word, I'm even thinking of a different word, but just this.
It's like delusion. It's like not delusion in a bad way, but like delusion in a good way. Like you have to be so.
Well, humans would always have to be on the end of like, it was survival. Yeah. It's like it's the part of your brain. It's like, it's not flight or fight, but it really tries to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And it's like subconsciously tries. So if something starts making you feel uncomfortable, and I am by no means like a behavioral scientist, but I've just heard this along the way. And when I hear that, I'm like, oh, so if I'm almost hardwired to do that, it almost gives me like the awareness of that gives me confidence to just be like, I want to bypass it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh.
It doesn't make it any easier.
No, it's still very uncomfortable.
And then you add that on to society. You add that on to even being female. Like, I don't know. You add that on to maybe
don't
how
be
we
too
were
loud. Don't
Yes.
be like we're like we're kept down.
I just think even when we're little, like imagine if all you hear when you're be careful, don't do that, be careful, you know, and then you're like, are you being conditioned? And then that's what you're thinking all the time. Now, some of it's really good, you know, you're not like running out into traffic.
Yeah.
You're, you know, you're right versus wrong. Your instincts are kicking in. But then sometimes when you get into a state of uncomfortableness, it is that like, you know, it wants to deter you kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like the curiosity of it. Like we're told not to be curious almost. It's like mind what you're doing, stay like within your lane. But something that I found really interesting that I learned the other day from my dad, he said that I never had terrible twos, which is mind blowing. That I never had terrible twos.
That's adorable.
And he was like, well, the age 2 is like when kids become curious. And my godfather is a doctor. And so he told my dad that. He's like, that's when kids become curious. So just let her be curious.
Yes.
And you won't have a terrible 2-year-old. You'll just have a curious 2-year-old. And it's like a lot easier. And so I think.
Yes. Instead of trying to like restrict.
Yeah. And so I think for me, like I'm a very curious person. I'm like, if I want to know about something, like I'm Googling it, I'm like diving down that rabbit hole, like I'm learning all about it. But I don't think a lot of people were given that permission to be curious. They're like I've asked at the dinner table, like with my dad's siblings and my mom and my cousins there, we were talking about something and I was like, well, why didn't you guys ever ask? Like why that was the way it was. And they're like, well, we weren't allowed to. Like we were told that like you just don't ask those questions. And I was like, oh, well, no, I'm asking that question. Like I don't like why, because why are we continuing this pattern for no reason?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, like why are we playing small?
Yeah.
Which is my whole thing. Like what was it that created us or created that trait in all of us as we were growing up to like not be curious and like not push the limits. When we had like Lizzie McGuire on the back of a scooter living her most like romantic dream, like why couldn't we dream like
Yellow
that
submarine and
or, like Miss Frizzle.
Well, I know. I think the answer is a lot and for different situations.
Yeah.
I think it truly is. Have you heard of the tallest poppy theory?
No.
It's out of New Zealand. And I'm not sure if it's Australia too or just New Zealand. But there is, and we'll have to look it up so that maybe I'll grab my phone. But it's this idea of like culturally, you don't, there's something about like it not being the tallest poppy or not wanting to be the tallest poppy. You don't actually want to like rise above the crowd because then you like stand out in a way. And
we want belonging.
Yeah, notoriously like either chopped down or there was this like group think of like, oh, you're standing out, you're different, like chop.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to say, so just knowing in general culturally. Yeah, it's interesting. So then today, it's like we always have to fight and overcome that.
Yeah. And also like encourage the other like people around us to do the same too.
Yeah. I heard the coolest thing this week.
Oh, what'd you hear?
It was a girl saying that if you don't think of your girlfriends or your friend group like a football team, like you're doing it wrong. Like if the idea of if one of you wins, you all win.
Oh.
And if you don't think of each other like that, then like you need to be thinking about each other like that. And it was so brilliant. It was like, if you get the promotion and the new job, we all win.
Yeah.
You know, if she gets engaged, we all win. And I just loved that.
Freudenfreude. Have you heard that concept? Freudenfreude?
No.
It's a German term where you...
Freudenfreude? Is that German?
Really?
Yeah.
Can you please put on your lederhosen and like say that to me? Freudenfreude is taking pleasure in someone else's success, even if you had nothing to do with it.
Wait, I love that.
It is like one of my favorite concepts.
Wait, I love that.
Yeah. If you ever see me post it on a story, I would have had secretly tagged people because I'm celebrating them in that moment.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you ever tell me...
Freudenfreude.
Yeah.
How have I never heard of this? I've been to Oktoberfest
I don't think that they're thinking about Freudenfreude. Or they're thinking about it because
the whole world is Freudenfreude there.
You're chugging a beer, but they're just not, saying that.
I know.
Yeah, but
that's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I'll send it to you. I like screenshot. I think it was the New York Times who posted about it first, and that's when I learned about it. And the opposite is Schadenfreude, which is
Schadenfreude.
Mm-hmm, taking pleasure in other people's pain.
Oh,
which I'm having a little bit of Schadenfreude right now when someone's stock is tanking. Every time I look at the stock ticker, I'm like, ooh, beautiful. I love this.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can have a collective Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
There.
So.
I mean, I love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. But like going back to your vision, like how do you set like your vision? Are you like you have like a visual for it? You a vision board person?
I'm definitely a vision board. I do have a vision board hanging up in my closet. So also, I see it daily.
I put mine in my closet too.
You did?
I don't have it anymore.
Your closet is like a zen zone. Your second closet is like a zen zone. That's like a third bedroom in there. Can we just call it what it is?
I know. I've told my friends with babies, like when they come to visit, like the kids have their own room, which is the closet.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. This is what happens when Toronto, like housing prices are so high that you think that this is a steal, getting a 2-bedroom,
I knew I didn't say it to you when I came in, but I was like, yeah, I knew it. I was like, just rolling to Houston, 2-bedroom deep, probably just being like, this is cheap.
So cheap. And all the amenities too. I'm like, man, I'm saving money.
I know. But that's why, as much as I can have my qualms with this state, Houston has, there are a lot of perks to it.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a vision board in your closet?
Yes, I have a vision board in my closet. Yeah, and to be honest, just based on that feeling coming out or going into 2020, I think when I went through, I'm working on not saying you and saying I, when I went through some pretty big life changes, like a divorce and then a change of career, or just ending a job, maybe change of career sounds, ending, a long time job.
And you'd been there like over 10 years?
10 years, not over 10 years. It was 10 years. Yeah, I just was not thinking of it was hard to think of something like 10 years down the road when it felt like all of my vision that I just had was like coming to an end.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting space to be in of like, okay, how am I rethinking all of that?
Yeah.
And at the time, it also felt very more like a weight and a ball and chain than something inspirational. So I just chose not to think on that. And I really went into my goals at the moment. It was way more around like feeling. It was like, what are my top 3 priorities around like family and happiness? And then when I was in a place to think about job and what I wanted, where I wanted to be investing my time again, I did get really clear on that. And that's how Rivian came about. I literally like, that was all of the you know, things I wanted in a company and where I wanted to invest my time. Like that's what ended up coming to fruition. So but like this big idea of needing to have this like really long-term vision, I haven't gotten back into.
Yeah. I don't think I have like a long-term vision. I like was it last year? No, 2 years ago, there was like one day, it was like a nice day out. And I just like felt really like compelled to like write down how I wanted my life to feel. And so like I put it in buckets. I'm like, how do I want like my days to look? And I was like, I want to have slow mornings. I love like drinking my tea on like my balcony or my patio. And like when it's like a nice cool breeze and a warm sun. Like those are like the little things in life that make me so happy.
Yeah.
But like starting a morning off like that and like getting actually to do like work that I love. And like I just looked at it like that. But I like mapped that out. And then that's how me going out on my own came about, because I was also really anti that for a while, because someone had planted the seed like you need to go out on your own. And I was like, well, are you going to bankroll me? Like I knew that if I had to think about money, that my creativity would be stifled. And like how I focus on strategy, like it comes from a very creative place in me. And I'm like, if I have to think about this, it's going to stifle this.
Yeah.
But because like I was like, well, this is how I want life to look. That's what enabled me to like shape what it would look like. And then I had the green lights, like Matthew McConaughey says in his book, Green Light.
Wait, I don't know that.
Oh, it's such a good book. Also, audiobook it.
Okay, yeah, but what is the thing about green lights?
When like things, like there's like alignment in life where like synchronicities happen.
The green lights.
And you hit green lights, and he'd always be like,
I love when I hit green lights.
Yeah.
Like the days where you don't hit a red light?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really good analogy.
Listen to his book, because like he narrates it, and like he's his great voice too.
We love
but Matthew McConaughey. But yeah, I had green lights along the way for it, and then I stopped having green lights for a little bit.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know, I've had this deep feeling that it's evolving, and so we'll see how it evolves. So it's kind of like I'm in the in-between too.
Yeah.
Of just like, how is it going to evolve? We'll see. We'll be open to what it looks like. Yeah. And that's also like really, like, it's really interesting that we have jobs that like we have to have like clear briefs. We have to know the vision. We have to know like everything. But then in our lives, we're like, nope, this is how I want it to feel. It's like the opposite.
I think maybe that's even what, adds to it. I think I definitely find at the moment I'm doing I'm craving the opposite of what I have to experience in like, you know, the professional setting all day long. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but to your point, I'm very clear though on like the feeling. So while I might have pushed pause on having this elaborate vision in the way that where it's like written out and you're really clear, like I just allowed myself to like rethink that. what's always in my like vision is, and something that never changes, is this idea of like, I know that I need to be making like impact of some sort. And then the feeling, there needs to be joy there. I mean, yeah. So I love that. I think that's important.
Oh, I love that alignment with us.
What?
Today I wrote a LinkedIn post around my definition of success.
Yeah.
Because I did my meditation this morning through the Open
I need
app.
to like follow you on LinkedIn. I feel like you put up all these like great like articles and writing.
Yeah. It's whenever I feel called to write, that's when I write. Today was successful. And then it had a quote, like, the true measure of success is a calm nervous system. Yeah.
Wait, that's the quote on my phone right now.
What? By James McRae?
The true measure. Oh, it's an Open quote. I didn't realize it was pulling from Open. But literally, look, the true measure of success is a calm nervous system.
Okay, well, you have to teach me how to do that afterwards to get it on mine.
The custom.
Yeah. Widget. But then it got me thinking, because last year when I had left my job, someone had written to me. She's like, I can't remember the words verbatim, but she's like, I have so much to learn from you. Like, please stay in touch. You've helped me find my voice again. And like, I remember like reading that and it almost made me cry. And I was just like, it was interesting that I got it because my boss had asked me to like share what I was most proud of in that job. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't have any like major accomplishments like I did in like the previous job where I had like all these like huge achievements like that were career making, and like I built up my reputation in Toronto around it. I didn't have any of that in this new job, and I felt like I hadn't accomplished anything. And I was just like, I don't know, like I don't have any KPIs that I like surpassed or anything. I didn't even have any KPIs. It was like the weirdest experience, or 18 months.
I'm sure you could like,
my boss like is amazing, or was amazing, because she's not my boss anymore. And she's like, you did so much, you did this. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like
it sounds like you're being hard on yourself.
Firstborn daughter.
Biracial. Are you being hard on yourself? Or are you the oldest daughter?
Yeah. But I got that message and I was just reminded that like success isn't always the KPIs or like the headlines. It's the impact you make on people's lives. Yes. And I'm like, when you just said impact, I was just like, the same thing. And then like my second marker of like knowing that I've changed my definition of success is like the calm nervous system. And like,
yes. Oh my God, I know. I saw that this morning. First of all, I didn't do Open yet today. Here's what's great. I actually just recently added that widget underneath my day widget.
Yeah.
Because it was like quote of the day. And I was like, heck yeah. So anyway, I didn't realize it was Open, but it was so good.
Yeah.
But that is it. I mean, we could do a whole other conversation on just nervous system health, because that has been what I've been focusing on the last year.
Yeah.
Like, that makes all the difference. Like, you can be healthy, you can be doing all this stuff, and things aren't changing because your nervous system's in like crazy flight or fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Oh,
so
I'm adding that to the list of things we're talking about because you're a reoccurring guest. So this will be fine. Yeah. Well, thanks, Jess, for joining me.
Yes.
I feel this is a great conversation, a great first start.
This was amazing.
Oh,
I'm excited for you and for this and for the impact that it's going to have. Yeah, when I think of my vision, it's 3 words. It's like, I need to be making a difference, making a difference. And the fact that you're out here wanting to make an impact, like this is a really good start.
Yeah. Cheers. Oh, I still have wine left. And now we can eat fries.
Yes. Cheers.
Thanks so much for sharing some fries and a glass of wine with me today. If you enjoy this conversation, make sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and subscribe on YouTube so you'll know exactly when the next episode drops. Until then, take care, stay curious, and keep the good conversations flowing. Cheers!